Today, we're gonna look at a block pattern that has multiple elements, and the customer was stating that each element, when the machine moved to the next element of the design, that it was actually stitching the line. Um, and when you first look at it, when you bring it in, it doesn't appear that those are going to be stitched lines. And I'm going to show what you need to make sure is checked so that it pauses, and which way you need to bring those type of designs in for the ability to have that setting available. Okay, so the first thing is, I think it's possible that the customer brought in the pattern as a pantograph, even though it was a block, which you can do. You just have to make sure that your total width, we're going to pick like 18, and height are the size of your block. And then make sure your pattern height is the same or less than the total height and width. So here's our multi-part block. The main one is where it crosses through, and then there's these small elements here. So it has 5 pieces that aren't all connected. And this is part of the panto stacker, is how this one's set up. Where so that if I let's see, options, let's try that, see if we've got there. No. Okay, so I'm not getting a choice of how to make the connections. So then when I go to Quilted, it comes in all as with stitched lines. So those connecting points will be stitched instead of a jump or a tie off. Let's see if I can go in here. And I think, yeah, okay, so they end up being stitched. So we don't want to do that with a multi-part block. What we want to do is we either want to go into select and sew or into pattern CAD. We go into select and sew and pick that block. It comes in and it shows the trim lines, as long as you have show trim selected. And then what we want to do is where it says pause at trim lines, we want to make sure that is selected and click OK. And now if we place it, and I am super bad at this part, I like to have the corner go so it's pretty square. Yeah. So that we can see this. Double check again. Okay, pause at trim lines. All right, great. And now when we hit sew, it's going to sew this first portion. We're going to see now it's going to pause and wait in the Quilter's Creative Touch software. I'm going to say move to next. It's going to do whatever you've chosen for your tie off. It's going to do that process, and then it's going to want to move to the start of the next segment of the pattern. We're going to click sew. It'll sew it. It should pause at the end of this element. It does. Do our tie off. Do our tie back in. It's going to sew the next element. And the turquoise lines indicate that that is going to be a move that doesn't include stitching. So we should be good. There should be no stitched lines going through. All these elements as it's sewing it. And here's our last one. So great. All looks fine. And so that's what you want to make sure of, is that you bring it in. If you have multi-part block, you want to bring it in via select and sew or through pattern CAD. So if I will show you the pattern CAD way, Gene, okay, and if I bring in the pattern, get rid of those nodes. And then if I can make any changes that I wanted to, you see it doesn't have any of those connecting lines. So we should be good to go. And I'm going to say no, because it's still not allow me to bring it in. And we have that. The jump lines are, trim lines are indicated. So then as long as, again, as long as that is selected and in the settings, the pause at trim line is selected, it's going to stop, let you tie off, move to the next one, and next element, and then sew again. If you do not have this selected, then it's going to still move between them without sewing, but it's going to be a long jump because this is for a big block, and then you might have thread breakage. Thank you. I hope that helps.